Right. I think I might make this my new methods because this is the third take of this one. But I think I get to a point and I think, what am I actually even fucking saying? I'm just storytelling now. I haven't really concluded anything or had any point. And, at the start I had the graph. So I had titles and specific focuses for each episode. I love calling them episodes. They technically are. I usually just say vid, make a vid about that. But I'm going to try and make this one. It's to do with my sort of social interaction. Let me first just tell you about my inverted flames causing gigantic mushrooms around the gravestone sunset bandana, which I've created. It's supposed to be on fire, but if you upside down it and do that, you get these big mushrooms. Aren't they lovely? And that is in stark contrast to what I'm about to talk about. Is that right? It was one of those expressions that there are a great many what I call these closing doors because they normally signify the end of the conversation, and it's an arena where someone was wanting to help and thinking they were helping, and it all went wrong. And it's, by and large, it's like in those interactions, I'm the one that suffers. And no one was wrong. No one was wrong. But this one, there's maybe not too much anger involved in it, so I can maybe talk about it quite specifically and sort of, don't know, use it in two ways, really. Use it in two ways. But it's the phrase, do you know what your problem is? You're just too intelligent. And I don't really think I am. I don't really think I am because of so much shit that I don't understand. But I know that I do people's heads in and I give complicated answers to things and shit like that. But my own personal view on intelligence is like, well, it's actually, I could get partially fucking scientifical and partially deep down cool on the streets daily about I should have worn shades because it's not real science. But basically, your cortex splattered all around your brain. It's between 3 and 6 millimeters thick. The thickness of that is how clever you fucking are, all right? And so there's an average and whatever, and there are exceptions that break the rule and bloody, 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 blah. Right. So the thicker that is, the cleverer you are. Also, no two brains are the same. A lot of the time in biology, when the body grows something, it kind of like splatters it in a way. Let's just keep it simple. So you have, let me explain it. You have billions of brain cells with thousands of with connections to thousands of others, and that's where the randomnity lies. Okay, so basically, thickness of your cortex is your RAM, and the amount of connections that you have between those clever neurons, let's call them, is your processor. So that's how quick you can think. So that's like, you can have people who don't have a lot of academic intelligence, but they're fucking sharp, right? You can also have people who are of average intelligence, but are just brilliant at one particular thing. There's a certain bit, and it'll involve, say they're just amazing at skateboarding. So that'll involve, their intelligence lies in how their brain can operate extremely quickly at making complex physical maneuvers at high speed whilst experiencing, what's it called? I'm getting fucking... See, my working memory, I know all the words I want to use are in there, and I could make that sentence sound really fucking clever, but I can't think of it all at the moment. But whilst forces are being acted upon them, you know, like gravity and centrifuge and all that sort of shit, and their brain, so their intelligence is in that field. Or, you know, someone playing the piano. So their intelligence lies in interpreting very complex. Have you seen some piano music? Fuck me, I can read the top line of music just because I used to play the cornet and that's where its range is. But all of those notes step all the way down to the other one, and all of those ones in the lines are different letters to those ones. It fucking confuses me, and the shit is all over the place, and it all means very specific things. And they can, you know, convert that into complex muscle motor pattern. Like, you know, it's like what they call a MIDI dump in music. It's like all of that. That's a pattern. Do that, and then that, and it's fucking rapid. So then, you know, that's where their intelligence has been dispersed, as it were, collected in little pockets of this area of the brain does that bit, and there's more connections to everything else. So those neurons are the ones that are really connected, because it, you know, and I am quoting the Open University when I say this in a very general, not in a general way, but I'm saying it's widely researched. You know, if it's written just there as a fact in Open University literature, you can trust that it's been fucking researched. They do spoon feed you a lot of your research at the Open University, but the understanding of it is the same. And so that's where you get these huge variances. I mean, IQ, there is a trend with IQ. IQ, it gets slagged off a lot. But IQ is actually, sort of accidentally, almost more the kind of thing that we do want to measure. This is measure sort of potential or whatever. But it actually declares a foul on itself. Everyone thinks that it's in the mindset of the old schoolmaster with a mortarboard and a cane and all of that. It's not. It actually says, I'm sorry, I'm not that. This is what the IQ test says. It's basically, those are the ways that they have found to test certain types of thought form. But, you know, who knows that they couldn't find other ways of testing it. And like personally for me, I've had my IQ result between 120 and 135. And like 135 is not high. That's why I never say I'm like super brainy. It's like, if I use the IQ test, people go, yeah, but the IQ test doesn't mean anything. No, it does. It means plenty. It doesn't mean you're definitely going to get an A in English or a fucking maths or whatever. It doesn't tell you that sort of shit. But it says that. If you read through the results it gives you, it's quite apologetic for not being so fucking clear. But that's it's giving you a vague picture. It's like these types of thought. What they should do with the IQ test is subdivide it into the types of thought that it was fucking testing. Because there's different things that it does. There's different progressions that you start to learn to predict, and it's testing different areas of your brain when it does that. And a lot of that is to do with speed, which is why my result varies, because when when I'm emotional, my memory doesn't work. And my brain will work slower. And a lot of the ones, particularly the computer ones, they're timing it as well, because it can be to do with that if you're fucking quicker at it. So it's actually a really good way of testing potential. That's what I would call it. See? Do your fucking science, give it to me, let me fucking critique it and give it back to you. Now run and play. Mere fucking mortals. No, they should do that with the IQ test. They fucking should. Because it does tell people a lot more than what you think. It's a fucking much better way of testing intelligence and ability than grades and exams. Let me fucking tell you. In a lot of ways, my university result was a fair reflection. What I did with it in the end was I thought in my third year placements, I got 58 twice, which is just under the barrier between good and very good. Just underneath it. And I had said to me, she said, Mikey, you're so close to a 2-1, it hurts me. Fine. I got 58 because they're not allowed to give you 59, basically, because 59 is too much of a tease. So they're basically saying there's so much of what you do is in that range, in that next step up, but there's just the bits that are holding you back. But what the essay that I failed, I was told was fucking very good, and turned out when I rewrote it with a slight fucking adjustment to the perspective I was looking at it from. That's all it was. You scored in the wrong goal, mate, was what one of them said to me, and laughed about it. And I was like, yeah, this is a significant loss, because it was on a big fucking module. The essay was 20% of it, and we'd done phenomenally well in the group bit. It had been like 85. I hadn't had a mark that high at all. And it was just that last bit. If I'd have got that 64 the first time round, it would have gone through about 85. And it would have brought the fucking... I wouldn't have got first, but it was probably technically possible at that point. Like, from the second year, I thought at first is pretty much out of the question when you just look at your grade average and you know how well you've done and how hard you've been working and stuff like that. So I technically could have got quite a high 2-1, and that probably wouldn't have been a result of how good I am. So how good I can sort of seem when you test me on paper. Do you know what I mean? And I took it as like I was training to be a physio, and by the third year, they're looking at every single element of being a physio, not just your academic thinking and your analysis and your ability to work in grit. It's just the whole fucking lot. There's a hell of a lot that you need to demonstrate to work as a physio. You can't just focus in one area. And those were 58s, and my final, what was it, 57.83 or something like that. I was like, do you know what? They'll call it a high 2-2. It's not that bad. But it was just frustrating. It was fucking frustrating that I could have just walked away going, mate, that's a phenomenal result. I'd have been a lot prouder. And everyone tells me it doesn't matter. It's like, you haven't been through it then. You haven't been through it, where everyone's demonstrating how much it matters whilst telling you repeatedly that it doesn't matter. That's how the world looked to me. It fucking looked like that to me, because you see all sorts of pressure on grades and students getting stressed, and then everyone's saying, it doesn't matter, you know, let's all suffer and tell each other it doesn't matter. That's what the world's fucking doing, man. But yeah, you're just too intelligent. And I often think, point one, I'm not that intelligent. I'm fucking stupid at a lot of things. I've got ridiculously low common sense, and like, just because I'm good at some shit and I can sometimes speak easily around complex subjects, doesn't mean there's people like brainier than me in so many different ways. Do you know what I mean? Point two, now what? Are you suggesting that I become less thick, more thick, to to alleviate my mental health symptoms? And where is my intelligensical regressioner? How am I supposed to will myself into becoming less clever? You've encountered Mikey logic in a very, very firm and fucking emphatic way. And the other point is, when that gets said to me, it's kind of like, you know what? Do you know, I think you're just too clever. And after that, there is a tendency at times to revisit it. You're just too brainy, mate. You're just too brainy. And I'm just looking at them thinking, they've just been kind of figuring something out, which they're now satisfied with. They've concluded something that you're too clever, you're too clever. And I'm like, what was that? What the fuck was that? Because now I feel too stupid because I don't understand what that was supposed to have just concluded. And it's one of those bewildering moments for me that it just comes up a lot. It just comes up a lot. And like, I know that I did have huge, like, what's it called? Insecurities around how clever I was. And I was very conscious of it. And thinking, look at you, you're always trying to fucking quote facts and fucking show that you know stuff and keep up with people. And I know that by the time I got to uni, I'd like consciously let so much of that shit go. And I'd proved a lot of that shit to myself. I was like, mate, you're all right. Do you know what I mean? Just the willingness to actually attend university was enough for me to have confidence in my own intelligence. And I think that, I believe that's as important as it is. I don't think I'm Dr. Clever. I really don't. And, you know, I've always failed to see the relevance of how it's going to kill my mental health, is to realise that I'm clever. It's baffling to me. I'm really sorry. But it's just, I'm only quoting experience after experience after experience. My support worker said it just the other day. And I commented on it, and yeah, she's cool. The other thing is she's allowed to be sitting there and psychoanalyzing me because she's already proven that she's extremely good at it. By the stuff that she said and told me, you need this, you need that. I'm like, yes, she's figured out a lot of shit that I've not told her, so she can psychoanalyze me with my fucking blessing. And if she wants to conclude that my intelligence is acting in a derogatory way, I know what people mean. I have the ability to think through a lot of stuff and draw these conclusions where a lot of people would be going, oh, I don't know, put it to one side and carry on with something else. I know that's how it's coming across, but I don't know how to get thicker. Sorry.